Bibliofools.
All right, let's jump in. Welcome to Bibliofools. I'm Evan Cannell. I have total control over this thing that I've created, and I'm here with my buddies. Kyle?
Howdy. I'm a cowboy today. I don't know.
Kyle's a cowboy
I'm
today.
a cowboy today.
And McKylan.
Yeah, I got lazy. See, this is my John Hammond moment. I got lazy. I was like, they'll come up with jokes. I wrote the script today. I was like, they'll just come up with a joke, right? They see what it is. Yeah,
Your
you guys will do
joke
it.
in the script says repeat what Kyle does, but just in a new way. So now you have
sorry.
to be a cowboy.
Oh,
differently.
I'm an Indian.
Oh. We dressed as a cowboy and Indian for one Halloween.
Yes,
Remember
we did.
that?
We were Lone Ranger and Tonto.
Yeah.
Wow. I know this joke's been done before. It's not original. But, like, why is he called the Lone Ranger? Tonto's always there. He's
Tonto's
never
his
been
buddy.
lone.
But he's the only ranger. Tonto's not a ranger.
All right, well, here's the deal. You know the drill. We read books, so you don't have to. But, like, shouldn't you be reading books? I don't know. This book's got me questioning everything. What is right? What's wrong? Does science hold any answers? I don't know. Is listening to a podcast instead of reading a book the right way to get whatever? You're here. We're going to have a good time today. This week, we're reading Jurassic Park, a techno-thriller and science fiction novel popularized by the famous movie Jurassic Park. The book's by Michael Crichton, first published in 1990. The story follows a billionaire's attempt to create a dinosaur theme park through genetic engineering, an ambitious project that descends into chaos when the natural instincts of the prehistoric creatures collide with human hubris. Set on the fictional, is it Isla Nublar?
I thought it was
Or is it
Isla.
Isla?
Isla Nublar?
I thought it was Isla.
Been a while since I saw the movie.
I just watched the second one last night.
I'm going to confidently go with one of these. Set on the fictional...
So, you are. You said it started so
All right, we're going
confident.
to do it
too.
more confident. All right. Set on the fictional Isla Nublar. That's
That's
definitely
not
wrong.
right.
God
That's
damn
not
it.
right. That sounds
There-
wrong.
It's on an
Wait.
island
So it's
close
Isla.
to Costa Rica.
Can't we just Google it? I have 4 screens in front of me. We can get to the bottom of this.
I mean, of all the names, and there's hard names to pronounce in this book on account of dinosaurs.
Dude, I got Procomp Signathus ready to go.
Okay, because I
Isla
did not
Nublar
pronounce
is
that
freaking-
in my head once. Right.
Isla. It's Isla. Okay, let's
Isla.
take that again.
No, it says Isla.
What?
Yeah. How do you pronounce Isla Nublar? Isla Nublar.
Hey Siri, I don't have you on.
It's
all right.
pronounced like the word isle.
That makes sense to me. 'Cause
According to what?
AI Google.
I'm on AI Google. It's
Wait,
telling
really?
me Isla. Fuck AI, dude.
Mine literally, I'll send you a pic. Mine has Jurassic Park pulled up as well.
guys, we,
So does mine.
We got to move on from this.
Okay.
This can't be the whole.
AI doesn't know. The novel explores themes of scientific ethics, chaos theory, corporate greed, and humanity's fragile control over nature. McKylan, this was your choice. What inspired you?
Yes. So Jurassic Park is one of my favorite movies of all time. I watched it I remember being so afraid of the velociraptors, and my grandpa held me and made me watch it, and he's like, "It's fine. It's a movie." Yeah, my namesake, Grandpa Del. But anyway,
I was gonna say, is that
Grandpa Del.
Del?
that's Delby, man.
I love that.
Amazing.
Yeah, Delby's crazy.
How do you
but,
feel about that in hindsight? Like, are you glad that happened?
when I look back on it, it's fond. It's a fond memory. But
Okay.
saying it out loud to you guys in this moment, I was like, oh. But I love Jurassic Park.
Okay.
So I was always obsessed with Jurassic Park, and the first one and the second one specifically were like scripture. I remember a teacher told me that pterodactyls didn't actually fly; they would glide, and I was like, no, I know that they fly. I've seen it.
Listen, dumbass, I seen it on my TV.
Idiot. So I was like, when we were picking books, the new movie's coming out, and I was reading some interview with the actual writer of the movie, and he.
We had an argument about this
Yes, we did.
behind the scenes. Who wrote the screenplay? Mac was right.
I
Matt
apologize.
was right, but he was
I was a
also,
little petty.
He was very petty.
Sorry.
Petty as shit.
Why don't we look it up? Why don't we everybody just look it up?
I'm
And
sorry.
we did look it up, and one credible source told us who wrote it, and then McKylan had to have us read the fine print. On Wikipedia, one of the most reliable sources on the planet. But you were right. You were undoubtedly right. So there you go.
Well, let's get into it. This book starts in the 1980s with eerie incidents across an island close to Costa Rica and actual Costa Rica, which surprised me. Mysterious animal attacks leave victims with strange wounds.
Wait, why were you
Young girl.
surprised in a book about dinosaurs coming to life? Why are you surprised? You're like, Costa Rica? That can't be right.
Okay.
Why are they in Costa Rica?
That doesn't make sense.
The movie makes a big deal. Actually, the whole series makes a big deal about, like, we gotta keep the dinosaurs on the island. So what surprised me is in the first pages, we're already bumping into dinosaurs that are no longer on the island.
Yeah,
so
like page
that was
3.
the surprising part. Yeah.
Okay.
But a young girl is bitten by a tiny lizard with 3 toes, lizard in air quotes, and a dying worker from a construction site whispers about raptors. These unsettling signs hint that something dangerous and unnatural is lurking nearby.
Okay, I've seen the movie. I love the movie. I adore the movie. Holy crap, this book is so much more terrifying than the movie. Like, and we're going to talk about that a lot, but they're like, oh, people are getting bit. Babies are being eaten by dinosaurs right now. A man is slashed to death by a raptor, and the only thing he can remember is raptor. And people are trying to figure out what the hell is going on, and it's so scary. It's not na 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 na, which is the best theme song ever of all time.
True.
But holy crap, it's terrifying.
Yeah, the level of description of how there's this white foam coming out of these bite marks and that they're having these allergic reactions, and these doctors don't know, like the girl's super observant, and so she draws a picture of the animal and they're like, there's no lizard that looks like that. It's so much more like wrapped in mystery and actual like suspense and horror. I was like, this is not the fun swashbuckling adventure that I was ready for. And like when they keep describing, Michael Crichton does such a good job of describing like the smell of the animals. And I just had never thought of that. And it's like terrifying.
It's terrifying. He's such a good freaking writer. It's like you're there, and he makes it horrifying. It's a scary book to read at times.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about how a T-Rex's mouth would smell like it would smell like garbage, like rotting flesh. And so they like, sometimes you smell it. That I don't know. It's like a horror trope that sometimes you hear it before you see it. Mm-hmm. Or like it's a haunted house and it gets cold. This one, it was like in the smell of rotting flesh. And you're like, oh shit, it's about to go down.
Oh man.
I don't know how you guys felt. I did like disconnecting the movie from the book was like impossible for me, but it also is so different.
Well, I was telling Ev, it's probably been a few years since I've seen the original Jurassic Park, so there was enough space where I could follow it along and be excited, but also notice the differences, like, oh, this guy didn't die on a toilet, and this didn't happen. So I feel like I was at the perfect spot where it wasn't like fresh in my head, so I was excited reading it. Even if it was fresh in my head, though, I think this book would have been so good to just read. It's that good.
So these incidents raise red flags that something ancient might be stalking the jungles. Paleontologist Dr. Alan Grant and paleobotanist Dr. Ellie Sattler are consulted to identify a fragment from an unknown lizard species, which appears to be a Procompsognathus, a dinosaur long extinct.
He nailed that.
Before they know it,
nailed that pronunciation of that stupid long
I hit it so. Before they know it, Grant and Sattler are whisked away by billionaire John Hammond to a remote island off Costa Rica for a weekend visit.
Yeah, so this whole bit, when you find out how fucking shady Hammond is, I loved this. Where like the guy's coming, I think he's from the EPA, and he's like, well, we think like they've built something. There's all these things that are, and it's like, we think it's like almost a military installation, but we can't confirm it. And you guys talk to him about it. Like, why is he talking to paleontologists? Can you guys give us any answers? And they're like, we don't know. And the second the guy leaves, John Hammond's on the phone, just like, hey, yo, did somebody come talk to you? No, it's cool.
And they're like, yeah, somebody did.
And he's like, oh, come to my island. It's gonna be so fun. I'll meet you in 20 minutes at this jetway. Cool? Okay. I'll see you guys later. Bye. And then runs out. Like, he's so much more of a sketchy.
Oh my
gosh.
gosh. that's one of the biggest things is John Hammond, if I remember in the movie, is like this kind of sweet, maybe a little reckless old man. He's a demon human being in this. He's like the greediest, most terrible, sketchy guy that I have no sympathy. Like, you don't have any sympathy for him throughout the entire book because you're like, this guy's just a giant piece of shit. That's all he is. He's not a sweet little old man in a wheelchair and a cute little cane. No, he's just a giant piece of shit through and through.
Yeah, it's bonkers how much we'll get to it, but there's a scene where I was just like, Michael Crichton is doing, in most movies or TV shows or whatever, or books, they'll do this thing where they make you like a character by showing that they're like a good person, and especially if you're hearing their thoughts, like, you know, it'll show like, oh, they really care about this person. This book goes out of its way at random, just towards the end, to just like hammer home how much a piece of shit John Hammond is.
I know exactly what the part you're talking about.
And it's crazy. When we get there, I laughed out loud. I was like, oh my God,
crazy.
This guy's he's a monster. And Michael Crichton's like, no, you don't understand. He's the worst person ever.
He's like, he did the perfect little straw man thing where he's like, I'm going to paint a caricature of every corporate asshole that I hate. And then I'm going to, like, teach that guy a lesson. Yeah. All right, well, let's meet the rest of our cast. We talked a little bit about Dr. Hammond, or not doctor. He's not a doctor. John Hammond.
John Hammond,
the villain.
piece of
It's not even
John
a doctor.
Hammond.
He's just the biggest piece of shit.
Yeah, the worst person. And
I don't know if we've clarified. He's a massive piece of shit.
We just can't emphasize that enough.
Such a douche.
We got Dr. Alan Grant, a renowned paleontologist who studies fossilized dinos for a living, now invited to see living ones. Grant is a practical, hands-on, and great with kids, which is good, fortunate for the rest of the plot.
Also, Grant has a tragic past I didn't realize. I didn't realize that he was a widower, and that's really freaking sad. Because remember at one point, one of the kids is like, he's like, are you married to Dr. Sattler? And he's like, oh, no. He's like, what happened to your wife? And he's like, oh, she passed away many years ago. I'm like, he's just a sad man digging up fossils.
Missed that. He did. He is so. There's something about this book is so much darker than the movies, just because like every character is a little more sad. It's just such a stark world that we enter into. The reason he gets involved is because he has all these theories about like them being dinosaurs being hot-blooded and more like birds, and like he's studying their behavior a ton. And so he actually like helped them come up with how to like take care of the animals. And that's why they're bringing him back, just to be like, hey, so got answers for us?
Yeah.
And
yes,
it's a lot like he's a lot more involved, and he's just so much sadder, but also he's like a better guy in a weird way.
He's a good person.
Yeah.
Yes. And he works with Dr. Ellie Sattler, a young but brilliant paleobotanist and Grant's close colleague. She's perceptive and compassionate with a keen eye for ancient plants.
She's also a babe. Like, she turns heads.
They do talk about that. She's not a person at all in this book for like half of it. It blew my mind.
The two women characters, Ellie Sattler's a great character. She's not in it near as much as in the movie. She's in it much more minimally. And then the little girl is the worst. But we'll get into that.
She's terrible.
She gets brutalized.
Oh my gosh.
They fuck
It's
up
not
this
good.
little girl so hard. And everybody's like, shut up. It's crazy.
Yeah, let's talk about Donald Gennaro, the lawyer, for just a second. So he's kind of the reason this is happening. The investors are getting worried. They're like, hey, we're hearing about like lizard attacks and like something's going on over there. We need you to go check it out. And like the big boss of the investment firm is like, if something crazy is going on there, burn it to the ground. Very
Let's get
honest.
ahead of this.
Yeah.
And we got Dr. Ian Malcolm, famously played by
Danny DeVito.
Better movie.
No, Jeff Goldblum. So best character in any book I've ever read. I love Dr.
so
Malcolm
good.
so much.
He's
I
just,
hated him kind of.
what? I loved him, and I thought, I mean, I don't want to talk about the casting too much because like it's already been done, but I think Goldblum was really good casting for this. This was the one where I'm like, that seems spot on actually. Not that everyone else did a really good job in the movie, but Goldblum, I'm like, fits it perfectly. Just this sarcastic, know-it-all, I told you so guy that you somehow love for some reason. I don't know.
They threw in, there was a one page where I was like, no way. He's talking, he's doing a monologue, and he throws in a little like, he cuts off mid-sentence and goes, fascinating. And I was like, wait, this was written before Jeff Goldblum was cast?
It's my thing with the Jeff Goldblum movie is as I was reading it, I had the opposite feeling. I was like, Jeff, why did they cast Jeff
Really interesting.
No way.
It feels a lot more like, I'm trying to think if I had to cat for Dr. Malcolm, I'm going like Richard Dreyfuss.
No.
Like, because the way in the book, at least the way I understood it, it comes off a lot more as like, and maybe it's also because so many of the characters kind of feel this way about him. It comes off as a dude who is kind of, he's a douche who happens to be right. Like, it's not like he's not actually cool. It's this annoying guy who, like, everybody's like, he thinks he's so cool and he thinks he knows everything. And then it turned out that he did. And I like the idea. Like, when I was picturing him in my mind, I was surprised I wasn't picturing Jeff Goldblum as much, as because I was like, Jeff Goldblum's actually cool. And I love this idea of like a Richard Dreyfuss or somebody kind of like annoying, where it's like he's not like we don't want to admit that he's right, but as he talks, especially later on when he's like hurt, the more you're just like, oh, this guy's like the voice of God. Like he knows.
Yeah, no, he knows.
Yes, that is the role that he plays. So he is a mathematician and chaos theory expert, and he wears all black all the time, which is metal. That's kind of fun. But it's like for a stupid mathematic reason where he's like, I just don't like if I don't have to decide what I wear. He does the Steve Jobs thing where he's like,
Steve
well,
Jobs
why make my brain make decisions between colors? Anyways, horrible. But he was an early consultant on Jurassic Park. Malcolm is cynical and witty and firmly believes the park is doomed to fail. He's basically the story's voice of caution, constantly warning that life finds a way.
Yes, I love him the most is because he is a thorn in John Hammond's paw the entire time. John Hammond hates this guy so much, and he just gives him the business constantly. I love Ian Malcolm. I think you're right, McKylan. Like, we're supposed to be annoyed by him, and I think if I met him in real life, I'd be like, oh, dude, F off. Like, please. But in this scenario, I really liked him.
It really gave me... Their whole vibe was very much that Tucker Carlson interview, where it's like, I don't like you, but I hate
this other guy.
I do want Ted Cruz as John Hammond just to watch him go through all this shit. So John Hammond is the visionary and eccentric founder of InGen, the biotech company behind Jurassic Park. Hammond is like a kid showing off his new toys, except for the toys are cloned psychopathic dinosaurs. He's optimistically blind to the dangers, utterly convinced that his park is safe and destined to amaze the world and make him fabulously wealthy.
Yeah, and it doesn't say how he got his money, but I feel like there's a part where it implies that he inherited it. He didn't really have to work for his money. He's just that spoiled kid who grew up and wanted everyone to like him and make a difference, and he's truly the worst.
And oh my God, that speech he does when he's talking to Wu about science and how once he saw what bioengineering could do, he was like, there's no actual use for this. We could only use it to make money.
For entertainment. Yeah.
And I was like, this is the worst human being I've read in so long.
Yeah, he's terrible.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he's like, we could make pharmaceuticals and solve actual problems, but then they're going to nickel and dime you, and they're going to get rid of your margins, and you're not going to make any money because you were trying to do a good thing. So why don't we just not do any good things, and we just entertain people and give them what they want, and then there's nobody to regulate it, and we'll just make money forever. That's like his energy.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
And he's aware. He's aware. Like you said, the McKylan, the author, is like, no, this guy isn't someone who's like, oh, maybe he's doing it for good. No, he outlines, no, I'm doing this for money. I'm doing this for money and for nothing else. And that's his whole purpose.
And because he suspects that Gennaro will torch the place if he thinks that something is amiss, and he's terrified of his investors, he goes full Elon Musk on the situation and invites his kids to come along as little meat shields. And they are his, grandchildren.
Yeah,
Hammond's grandchildren, Lex and Tim Murphy, an 11-year-old boy who's dino-obsessed and computer-savvy, like ridiculously so.
Yeah.
And Lex, his younger sister, about 7 or 8, energetic and sports-loving, and just annoys everyone. Just really annoying little sister energy.
Yeah.
Here. And then they're brought to the island as the park's first tiny visitors. And unwitting test subjects / human shield.
And this is how bad Hammond is he's like, I already know these kids, their parents are getting divorced. They're traumatized to some degree by their parents getting divorced. So I'm going to use them as my own personal meat shields, my own grandkids who are already having a hard time in life. I'm just going to really throw them into it because it might make me more money. That's his whole thing.
Terrible. And Lex gets... Okay, so they switched these kids. In the movies, it's switched, right?
Yeah.
But in the movies, Tim gets a pretty hard go of things in the movie.
Yeah.
He's the younger one in the movie. And I was kind of like, oh, I wonder why they switched him. And then as I was watching it, I was like, oh, it makes sense. Because the things that happened to this little girl, brutal.
No one wants to see this little girl get tortured throughout the entire book, and everyone get mad at her the entire book for being tortured.
Tim is constantly like, shut up. And then she gets like her fingers bitten by a velociraptor. I'm like, oh my God. What's happening?
But to be fair, she's also like super annoying. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
She
why.
does wake up the T-Rex.
Oh,
at one
yeah,
point,
'cause
just
she has
because
to
she can't
sneeze.
stop sneezing.
Also, she's just
Which-
like, everyone is like, they're like, how are we going to survive? And she's like, but I'm hungry. You don't get it. It's been 12 hours and I haven't eaten anything. And so I'm going to put us all in jeopardy. And so,
which is fair. To be fair, I would like to be
Okay, I
like,
get
we're
it.
in a cafeteria. Can I please have some fucking food?
yeah.
Like, I'm 8.
But she's-
I
but
need food.
She's constantly shitting on her brother Timmy. She's like, Timmy doesn't know how to do this. Our dad doesn't like Timmy because he's bad at sports. Timmy doesn't know computers. How could you know? Like, she's just so mean to her brother, who is always just trying to protect her. Which I guess
Timmy's scared of heights.
Yeah,
Timmy
Timmy's
can't do that. Timmy usually gets scared.
yeah, she's
Brutal.
She is
Yeah.
terrible. And then finally, we have Dennis Nedry, Jurassic Park's lead computer programmer. Nedry is underpaid and overworked and nursing a serious grudge against Hammond, so we'll have to keep an eye on him. He's about to cause some major chaos. Let's just say Dennis is a lot.
Dennis is a lot.
They get to Hammond's Island, Isla Nublar.
Isla
And
Nublar.
That is home to Jurassic Park. So they're looking out over a majestic valley, and Hammond says, "Welcome to Jurassic Park."
There's not that moment.
That happens.
That moment doesn't exist in this book, really.
No, it doesn't.
I know. I'm throwing it into the podcast because it's the best moment of film.
I know.
It's so good.
That it blew my mind that just like the key difference is illustrated so perfectly in this scene of like when they get to the island and they see the dinosaurs for the first time. It's kind of just like, oh fuck, like oh shit, there's
Like, that's not cool. Like,
whoa, what the hell? Like it's like they're kind of scared, but they're like weirded out. They're like, it's like a tree trunk's moving. Oh whoa.
yeah, it's not
Yeah.
this beautiful.
Yes.
Wow. Like, even the people who have studied it, Alan Grant and Ellie, like, that's their whole life, and they're just like, this doesn't seem right.
Like,
Seeing
oh.
these things walking, these things should be dead.
Yeah. The first one they see is like the giant brontosaurus looking
Yeah.
thing. And like Mikhailin was saying, they think they're looking at a tree trunk and then it moves and then they look up and they see it like towering above them. And Grant's like, oh shit, what? You dinosaurs? What?
Yeah. Because also, John Hammond keeps them in the dark. He doesn't tell them why they're there until they're there trapped on this island.
Yeah.
And so then they're
Yeah.
like, there are real dinosaurs here. And only a handful of people know about this. And most of the people who know are dead because they've been ripped apart by raptors. And here we are in Jurassic Park. Bam, 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 bam. It's a lot scarier.
It's a lot like it would be a lot. It's a lot more like. I'm doing the Halloween theme song. That's a,
Or what is the Exorcist one? I can't think of it.
I can't. But it's
I'm just making sounds. Yeah, that's a scary one.
All right, so InGen scientists have cloned dinosaurs from DNA found in prehistoric insects trapped in amber. Where the DNA was incomplete, they filled in some gaps with DNA from frogs, birds, reptiles, particularly frogs. That's going to come up later. To prevent uncontrolled breeding, all dinosaurs were engineered to be female. Grant, Sattler, Malcolm, lawyer Donald Gennaro representing the investors, and the kids tour the facilities. They're in awe of Triceratops, Brachiosaurs, and even a towering Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Except
Hammond.
I'm so sorry. It's not a Triceratops. It's a Stegosaurus in the book that they first encounter.
They go into detail on every single thing about these animals that is off or weird or wrong, and it is fascinating. Like when they're talking about, I think it's the Stegosaur, right? That it's like it's the one that's sick, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, there's all these stones. Like they use gizzard stones like birds. But then
Yeah.
in the so like they're not pooping, but there's like these huge amounts of gizzard stones because they're just doing it like crazy. Because there's also like this plant that they just put because it looks nice, and they're like they won't eat the berries. They never eat the berries, and it's like nope, they ate all the berries, and now they're like shitting rocks like it's nobody's business. It's crazy, and like
Yeah.
it's cool to see or read.
It is interesting because in the movie, it's this very beautiful, wonderful thing, and it is kind of like that. It's fascinating, but it's also just this is not right. There's something not right here, and that's like you
Yes.
said, the overall theme, and that's proven by how all the dinosaurs they appear to look great, but when you look closer, there's something wrong with all of them. None of them are natural because they couldn't be. There's no way.
Yeah, and
Yes, but the marketing that Hammond is doing does not match that. He's proud. He's so proud. He couldn't be prouder of the island. And he's like, look, I have resurrected dinosaurs. But Malcolm is not impressed. He predicts the park's systems will inevitably break down. Gennaro is worried about recent reports of incidents, which is why this expert visit is happening in the first place.
And Malcolm makes it a very good point of like these are, and even like and Alan and everybody, they're like these are monsters. These are not dinosaurs. Like
Yeah.
that's a point that I was not expecting. This is a monster book. It's a much more akin to
Yes.
like a Godzilla story or something, or like Alien, than what you would think of Jurassic Park. These are every single time they see any of them, they're like, it stinks, it moves weird, it's behaving like a bird, we don't like, half of them are have like sociopathic behaviors and we can't track their behavior super well. And Hammond's like, no, it's super cool. It's super cool. No, these are dinosaurs. And like even Arnold is like, no,
Yeah.
we can track them. We can track all of them. They're like, but what are you talking about? It's so interesting to read.
Yeah.
Yes. So tensions are simmering in the background behind the park's exciting exterior. Malcolm is lecturing about chaos theory and how unpredictability will ruin Hammond's plans, almost guaranteed. So let's talk about chaos theory for just a second, because we've read like 3 books where Kyle gets to say, yeah, I have a tattoo of that. And now it's my turn to have a tattoo
Yeah.
of the thing that we're talking about, which is chaos theory. So this is a Lorenz attractor, which is what he's talking about, the Malcolm effect, where it like squirrels off. It's like my tattoo is a graph. Okay, so let's just get the jokes out of the way.
Oh, that's a graph.
It's a graph.
Okay. For the listeners, just real quick, it's a bunch of circles, and there's one bunch of circles going up, and then one bunch of circles going towards his hand.
It's a cool tattoo.
It's super cool. I'm just making sure that we can.
Yeah.
I never knew it was a
Yeah.
graph. Once you said it was a graph, I've become judgmental. But okay, continue.
Yeah.
You liked it before.
I loved it before, and then you said it was a graph, and I was like, what?
Freaking nerd, dude.
No, no, keep talking about that.
There's a scientist, Ed Lorenz, who was trying to predict the weather, and he had a computer program running, and then he realized he had made a mistake, but he didn't want to go all the way to the beginning. So at the time, computers would crank out this paper, and just like it was like rows and rows of numbers. So he's like, I'm going to cut it right here and start with these numbers and then roll the computer program again. And what he found is that his predictions were wildly off, even though he started from the same point. His earlier predictions and then the second time he ran it were completely different. This is the foundation of chaos theory, the idea that chaotic systems, are sensitive to initial conditions. So differences like 1,000 decimal places out, very minuscule differences, produce wildly different outcomes down the road. And so you can't predict a chaotic system. It can be fully deterministic and still completely unpredictable. So I love that concept. That's why I got it tattooed, because that's life. Life is a chaotic system, and you can't predict it, but everything does happen for a reason. Like those ideas work together. But getting back to the book. The way that this applies is Malcolm is saying, what we're talking about here is life. You have created a living system, and there's no way, you never had a snowflake's chance in hell of being able to control or predict. Like, once you let life out, it will find a way to propagate, and you will lose control very quickly. And he calls this the Malcolm effect, where everything seems like it's going the way you thought it would, and then it squirrels off into a totally different direction that you're never going to be able to predict. And he names it after himself.
He's a douche. It does. It is interesting to me, like, when they get into the idea of what the dinosaurs are, and Malcolm says something awesome where he's like, you're trying to create a spaceship, essentially, because they've never ever interacted with this kind of air, this kind of foliage, the temperature is different, the air you breathe is different, the ground that they're on is completely different. Like, every single piece of this is wrong. They're not supposed to be here. And so you cannot predict how they're going to behave because none of this should happen. And Hammond is just like, but money. But the money.
He's like, but money but dinosaurs. And kids love dinosaurs. Kids are gonna love it. It's like, dude.
You know, in some way, I bet this is Tim's fault. Tim did this.
I'm sure Hammond would feel that way.
Tim's like, that fucking kid told me he liked a Triceratops like 10 years ago when he was like 2, and I ran with it.
I invested all my money into it, and now it's gonna work, damn it.
And now everybody's mad at me because I made monsters.
Yeah.
So he takes everybody on a tour. During the tour, Grant spots something shocking, a broken velociraptor eggshell in the wild. So this should be impossible in a park where all the dinosaurs are female, yet here it is. Proof that the dinosaurs are breeding on their own. Grant later deduces that the frog DNA used in cloning enabled some dinosaurs to do what frogs do, which is spontaneously change sex if the sex is weighted too far to one side or the other. In Malcolm's words, life found a way beyond the park's control.
Yeah, it sure did. And so now all their systems, that's just the first thing that, like, hey, all your ideas are wrong. All these things that you thought you were controlling. And I love it in the book. It talks at this point, it's them going on the tour and the things that are happening. And then the next chapter is titled Control. And then it's whatever else is happening. And then Control, just showing how you can't control this because every time we're trying to control it, something is going wrong. And this whole idea that, hey, they can't breed. No, you're wrong real quick. And now everything's going to go to crap. Like, it has to go to crap because some of your core ideas were wrong.
And there's a cool moment that Malcolm does where they're showing him how they track all the animals. And they're like, there's only 292 dinosaurs. And he's like, well, what if you, like, how do you determine that number? And he's like, oh, well, the computer searches through motion trackers, motion sensors, and cameras, and we confirm the numbers. And I think it's Malcolm, and he's just like, but what if there's more? And Arnold's like, oh, yeah. Well, and he's like, why don't you just type in, like, 300 and see what happens? And they do it, and all of a sudden, all these other dinosaurs start showing up, and Hammond's just like, well, that's...
He's like, computers are computers.
Yeah. And Arnold is just like, the Samuel Jackson character, Arnold, is just like, well, we've never had to look. Why would we ever look for more? We always just type in the same
there
number.
Shouldn't be
it's
more.
Impossible to make more. Clearly not. And did we talk about Arnold? Did we give him a shout out that he's the engineer over the entire park?
Yeah.
He's running the entire thing, and Hammond blames him for everything because a lot of it falls on him. So yeah, anytime poor Arnold is just trying to figure shit out the entire time.
And he's doing his best and failing at every outset.
Every turn.
Yeah.
He never does anything right. Not one time.
Fucks everything up and just can't get ahead of the ball, and they blame him for everything, and then he's just brutally murdered.
And then he dies. So,
dude, oh man, I loved his little monologue about why Malcolm is wrong. Because it's so poorly crafted. I just thought it was genius for Michael Crichton to put in an argument by a guy that's just like so blinded by confirmation bias of like, no, like we spent so much time on these systems. Like, how could they break down? Malcolm doesn't know what he's talking about. And he gives all these reasons. He's like, well, this is why. Malcolm's wrong is because how could the dinosaurs even reproduce? That doesn't even make sense. And it's like, good one. Good argument, dude. It's like he just has like no. I kept being like, oh, okay, this is where we get the counterpoint to chaos theory. And it's like, there's no counterpoint. You just have a guy who's delusional just saying words, which is, I feel like, how it works in real life.
To make yourself feel better, just saying things to be like, no, I'm right, but there's no basis for it.
And I love how it's written where you get into everybody's head and you see there's this big long section where like right after Arnold does that and everything, you hear Malcolm talk about it and he's like, no, these guys he said thin intelligence, where they're all stuck on this idea of what should happen and like all these rules, and they never think past, like they're not predicting, or they're trying to predict everything as opposed to thinking about what could happen and like options. They're just like narrow focus, the confirmation bias you're talking about. And like Michael Crichton does it in such a good way where like some little dummy like me can understand these because these are like high brain concepts of like, you think you're smart because you know how a system works, but the second you think outside of that system, your brain breaks down. And Malcolm's just like, exactly, you're not actually smart. You're just you're talented in one way. And that like this book, if you're like me at all and you like to think that you're smart, but you don't have the patience and you're not actually that smart, it's like perfect. I said to you guys, I was like, Michael Crichton is my new drug dealer because this pseudoscience fiction is just right up my alley.
It's great.
Amazing. So a tropical storm ominously rolls in and evening falls. The disgruntled programmer Dennis Nedry makes his move. He's secretly agreed to steal dinosaur embryos for a rival company, Biosyn, who's trying to skip ahead. They've kind of figured out what's going on and they want to cut the line. Nedry shuts down the park's security systems using a backdoor in the computer code that he put there himself. In doing so, he cuts power to the whole park, including the electric fences and many vital systems. Under the cover of the stormy night, he sneaks away from the control room with a canister of stolen embryos. His plan is to deliver them to an agent who should be waiting at the dock.
It's so mean to, I mean, it's greedy, but you didn't have to shut down the electric fences for this plan to work, dude. Like, you didn't have to shut everything down for this plan to work and for you to steal the embryos undetected. But he shut everything down just because I don't know, he wanted to be thorough. He's an asshole. I don't know.
Well, it's like, it's the perfect Malcolm moment of chaos theory where like Dennis's plan is to just go drop them off and come back. That's his whole plan. And it's like, he's like, I know how to do it. I'll shut it down just for long enough that I can leave and come back and nobody will even notice. And like, oh, Bob's your uncle, who knows, like whatever. I just got $5 million or whatever. And he, like, when he explains it, I was like, oh, this character is a lot smarter than I remember him being. And then you see the plan unfold and you're like, oh, right. He just thinks he's smart. And I haven't read a book where they do this so well of like illustrating the character's thought process and then showing them fail and like seeing the two things side by side. I was like, oh, that is an itch that I have never scratched before. And I was like, fuck yeah, this is sick.
Yes. Yeah, it's great. And it's a great contrast to like all the competency porn type stuff out there.
Yeah.
Like every time I watch Limitless, I have a manic episode where I clean my whole house and I'm like, I'm going to change everything. I'm going to be a financial freaking prodigy. And this it does the same thing. It's like if Bradley Cooper took the pill and he starts just like running the business and everything's going great. And then a velociraptor comes out of nowhere and rips his head off. It's just the best. I love it so much.
They do it in such a smart way where like you get that Limitless thing of you're hearing everything. And then it's like if you couldn't see Limitless, like let's say Limitless was a podcast and you just hear like he's talking about how he's doing all these things, he's changing all these things. And then you meet him and he's still that loser from the beginning of the movie. Like that.
He always was.
Like nothing actually changed. He just really convinced you all this crazy stuff. And it's so cool. I fucking loved it.
Yeah. Kyle, what's going on, man?
Tired as shit.
What's cooking? Are you tired?
I think this book is needed in our, I mean, not the movies they're making, because apparently all the movies they make suck now, which is a shame. But like, I love this idea that you could be the smartest, most confident person and spout that confidence, but it's still going to fail because we don't control things. I think the central theme of this book is it's out of our control. And I got really like philosophical and spiritual with it. And it's like the more we try to control things, the more we suffer, which is just this classic Buddhist concept. But it affects the world around us. It's not just us who's suffering. it's the world that is suffering as we try to control things. And so that was a strange and needed realization. And I think we need more of that because we have too many people, like you said, being like, oh, I know this, this will fix you, this will fix you. It's like, yeah, even if you're right, you're not taking into account all the other aspects of the universe and existence. Like, that's just not how things work. And it was weirdly validating, this book.
And dude, in the same way, like in the movies, I don't really like connect with Alan Grant at all. Like, not in a bad way, but I'm just like, he's a cool character who's like learning to be a dad. It's a Steven Spielberg stand-in, whatever. And it's reading this, I was like, I want to be like, that is like the picture of like what a man should be, a good dude, or even just a person, like a good person, man or woman is just like, you learn things, you use that knowledge, and you just like, you understand right and wrong. And it's just like such an antithesis to Malcolm, where Malcolm's like, I can see everything, I know everything, I'm God. Alan's just like, you just have to pay attention and like learn and like be careful and like take one foot at a time. Like it was, it's such a cool way to have all this hit your brain, where I was like having that spiritual moment, like Kyle was saying, was like chaos theory, but then I'm like seeing it in action, like, oh, how do you survive chaos?
Yeah. How do you make it through? And there is this really good example of that.
So at this point, everyone theoretically might be cool under pressure. And we're about to find out what really
Everybody
happens.
At this point in the book, it's so good. They spend so long setting up how strong-willed everybody thinks that they are.
So Nedry's betrayal plunges the park into darkness at the worst possible time. So the tour vehicles have stopped. They are electrical, so they don't even work anymore. In front of the T-Rex paddock, with the electric fences down, the mighty Tyrannosaurus Rex breaks out in a scene of sheer terror that mirrors the book shot for shot, or the movie shot for shot. The T-Rex attacks the two tour SUVs. I shouldn't say shot for shot because it is a little more brutal.
Yeah,
but Dr. Malcolm is
a lot more
thrown.
aggressive, and Ed Regis, the PR guy, he's like what the lawyer would be, and he doesn't get killed then by going into like a bathroom. There's a baby or a juvenile T-Rex, and that comes in later, and it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's like, if you thought the deaths in the movie were brutal, read the book, because they're 100 times worse in the book.
Each
death is, you thought a guy getting eaten on a toilet was bad. No, the real death is somehow worse than that.
It's way worse. So the T-Rex is flinging people around. Ed Regis panics and flees, only to be picked off by, like McKylan said, a juvenile T-Rex who's not trying to eat him. The juvenile plays with him to death.
Yeah.
He thinks it's fun, and he just like rams his head into him and like totally grinds him up.
Oh, when you said that, it's so dark that it's like, this thing isn't even trying to kill him, but it's so powerful. It rips him to shreds trying to play with him.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Never stood a chance.
This is where Lex starts
Go
getting fucked up. When I was reading this, I was like, oh my God. Or, well, because I listened to it. But, like, when they're describing, as we've seen in the movie, like, the T-Rex attacks the car, yada, yada. Grant is watching. And because it's from Tim's point of view, the way they describe what's happening in the car, and he's just like, oh, and the car got knocked, and I looked over, and Lex's head was pouring blood, and I was just like, oh my God, that's like it just keeps happening like that. Okay.
Yeah. So the children, Lex and Tim, are trapped in one vehicle until Dr. Grant. So the vehicle gets flung into a tree. Tim's real quick on his feet, and he thinks ahead, grabs the night vision goggles, and climbs down the tree. Hears whimpering and finds Lex in a tube, like a pipe.
Yeah, I got
and she has reverted to childlike behavior where she's calling them aminals instead of animals, and she's sort of rocking back and forth. So she's she's not in a great place, and Tim has to be like, okay, we're okay, but we gotta move.
But also, Tim is not in a good place either, because he got flung into a tree in a car, and then he fell down. I thought Tim was almost dead at this point with all the crap he'd gone through.
Yeah.
But because he is quick-witted, he somehow survives the car falling on him, finds his way to the storm drain, and sees his sister, and starts comforting her, because like you said, she's reverted back, and he's like, hey, my body hurts, your body hurts, we're dying maybe, but we got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I liked the change that it did with Grant. Grant doesn't actually save them while they're getting it. The car gets flung and everything, and Lex falls out and all that stuff, and then Grant comes over to try to get to them, and the T-Rex sees him, and he learns oh, it can't see me if I don't move, because he thinks it's just gonna eat him. He like accepts his death.
Yeah.
And which I thought was cool. And then it can't see him, so it like turns around and accidentally like kicks him, and he flies off and lands by the kids. And I was like, oh, that's such a cool, like terrifying moment. Like he's just such a he's such a badass. He gets kicked by this thing, and he's just like, okay, kids, you wanna go? But it's not that the T-Rex is like, these people are getting dog walked by these animals on accident. They're not even trying to kill them, and they're just getting fucking hammered.
And there's no time to be the hero who comes in and saves the kids, because Alan Grant wants to do that, but he can't because the T-Rex is ripping shit up and tossing him around. And so like there's like, I'm like, oh, I wish the adults would have done more for the kids. They couldn't. There was no time. They were up against a T-Rex. Like, come on.
Although 100% true. And there's still plenty of room for cowardice. So Ed Regis, the PR guy, is in charge of the kids, and he just runs away immediately. And then he's hiding. And, oh, man, it was so good. Like, them describing him just like, I got to find the kids. I can't believe I left those kids, but there's a T-Rex back there. So, like, I can't, like, all right, I'm going to get up and somebody needs to take charge here. That's going to be me. And he just like sits there and talks to himself and doesn't move. He just sits there like a coward. And then he starts to go up the hill. Finally, he's like, all right, I better go take charge. And then he's like, starts thinking about the T-Rex again. He's like, I'm pretty close to the visitor center. We got to make a plan. I better go back there. It's just like his cowardice, his absolute like bitch ass. Like, I'm going back to the visitor center. Contrast with Dr. Grant being like, I don't know why I'm here. Apparently there's dinosaurs here, but there's 2 kids and we got to get them to safety. That's priority number 1.
And despite being kicked in the chest by a T-Rex, Grant is still like, I'm still going to try to make this work. Whereas the other guy, yeah, you're right. It contrasts their different opinions. When things go bad, Grant's like, I might die, but I'll go for it. And Regis is like, visitor center sounds real nice right now, though. I mean,
and then they got ice cream.
Yeah, they got ice cream.
Yeah, they talk about the ice cream so much. And then what happens? Malcolm just runs away, right? Like he.
Yeah, Malcolm.
No, Malcolm got thrown.
No, Malcolm runs away.
So Malcolm starts running.
He also just
starts
runs
running.
away.
But he stays with Grant a little bit until he realizes like we're screwed. He watches the car get flung away. In their eyes, the kids are dead, and then he's like, "Whoa, who could have predicted that this would happen?" And then he runs away.
And gets
like, manhandled.
Yeah. He may as well have thrown a little smoke bomb at the ground and been like, poof, and I vanish, and then he runs away. Of course, drawing the attention of the T-Rex, who throws him up in the air. And we will come back to what happened to Ian Malcolm.
I don't know if I put it in the script, but I thought that was so fascinating, is that the T-Rex's bite isn't actually that hard because of how big it is. So the way it kills its prey is it bites it and then just shakes it violently and shreds it up with its teeth.
Yeah. So like when I found out, he's like, oh, I got bit by the T-Rex, and like, then you should be dead. That's how T-Rexes work, apparently. But it's like, no, he just has like this soft mouth and he uses its neck muscles, but I was too small, so it just ended up flinging me out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, so he's having a bad time. Elsewhere on the island, Nedry's own getaway is going horribly wrong. So he becomes lost. He can't find the guy that's supposed to meet him. He crashes his Jeep that he stole, by the way, that has a rocket launcher in it. We should say the rocket launcher is in the Jeep that he stole, which would be nice to have back at the base. And he's ambushed by a venom-spitting Dilophosaurus that kills him before he can hand off the embryos. And it is chilling because these things sound like owls. So he hears them, and then they have this sweet, sickly sort of vomit smell. And he, like, it spits at him, and it feels it on his arm, and it starts burning, and he's like, what? Acid spit, huh? And then he, like, starts running, and he, like, gets to his Jeep, and he opens the door, and he's like, oh, where is it? And he, like, looks back, and it gets him in the eyes, and now he's freaking just blind, and like, oh, what's happening? And then it, like, he can hear the footsteps, right? But he can't see anything, and then he feels, like, the sharp pain, and then realizes it's kind of like ripped him open. And then the chapter winds down with him just being like, hopefully it's over soon.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
He's holding his intestines.
I was gonna say, yeah.
He's holding his intestines, being like, what is going on? And then the last thing we hear is he feels this sharp pain on his head. It bit his effing head. And oh my gosh. Yeah, that was like, justice was served, but man, in a horrifying way.
Yeah. And You never find his whole body. They do find his leg. So like it implies he got fucked up after that.
I'm trying to find. There's one
man.
character that I don't. That is
Muldoon?
Muldoon.
Yeah,
Muldoon comes out of left field being this fucking psycho.
Muldoon he's a badass psycho.
During all of this.
Yeah, he's like the security of the park. Is that kind of his role? Yeah.
And
No,
like his whole backstory was like he's worked at every major zoo to track and catch like the animals. And Hammond has made it so that they don't have any weapons. This is super important. So they don't have any weapons except for this one rocket launcher, like Evan said. And Muldoon at one point goes like, he's like, I gotta go save those kids. Like after everything's happened, he's like, okay, I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna find Grant. I'm gonna find whoever's alive. I'll bring him back. And Nedry had taken his Jeep that has the one rocket launcher, the one weapon that could actually hurt these animals. Nedry took it as well. And and Muldoon is just like this swashbuckling alcoholic, just weirdo. I loved it.
Yeah. No, he was great.
He's getting drunker and drunker as the story goes on. And so, but he's like, he's got it together, but in the most unstable, like, it's great. Back at Control Center, John Arnold, the chief engineer, and Henry Wu is the lead geneticist. He's like the scientist that really did the work to bring back the dinosaurs. They scramble to undo Nedry's sabotage. They reboot the park's computer system, momentarily getting some power back. But they missed a critical detail that the generators only come back on auxiliary power, and the auxiliary power is needed to restart the actual power. But because they don't know that, they just let the generators run out. Shortly after, the backup generators run out of fuel and shut down again, and now they can't restart those, and so they're screwed. The park is now truly dark and defenseless. This outage is catastrophic because it frees the park's deadliest creatures, the velociraptors.
Yeah, and this is where, before we get into the velociraptors, I just want to go into how fucked Arnold is. Because he's like, okay, I got the power back up. And they're like, all right, well, why aren't the phones working? And he's like, and it's so, I just love how it's written. I mean, Ellie is just standing somewhere, not doing anything, because this book doesn't want her to have a personality, really. Until later. She comes in later.
She's kind of...
She does cool stuff
at
the end.
She's helping Malcolm recover, kind of.
And Harrison, the other guy. So, but Arnold is like, okay, I got the power back up. And Wu was just like, I didn't know that I was making these crazy monsters, and not being helpful whatsoever.
Yeah.
Hammond is standing behind the two of them, being like, these guys are fucking idiots. And it's...
Yeah, he's like, fix it. And Arnold's like, it takes time, okay? I don't know.
Yeah, and the way he talks to Wu, the geneticist, he's like, why didn't you just make the dinosaurs more dinosaur-like? It's like, that's not how things work, dumbass. You think you can, like, you don't understand the science. What are you talking about?
It's so crazy when Wu he's like blaming Wu for how dangerous all of this has become. And it's like, you started this. Wu just did what you told him. Like, yes, Wu's a puss, but like, guys, you did this.
Yeah, Wu starts taking...
And Wu is frustrated. Yeah. He's like, we should probably genetically edit them to be a little slower, a little less lethal. And Hammond's like, nope, we just got to make dinosaurs the way they are. And he's like, well, we're already substituting a bunch of DNA. Like, it was never going to be the way they were. Like, we're creating a new thing here. And Hammond's like, no, just make them dinosaurs. And he's like, they're way faster than we planned. They can't be this fast. This is a horrible idea.
Especially the velociraptors, because they have been a problem since day one. They have been killing workers. They are, like Evan said, faster than they had anticipated. They're so much smarter than they anticipated.
They're not even on the tour. They had to take them off the tour because they were so dangerous.
No, they're locked away somewhere. And the only reason they're not destroyed is because they're so expensive. But they've killed people. They're the most dangerous thing. And now they're at the point where it's like, okay, cool. These are all free. Also, they're also breeding with each other. So there's a ton that we don't know about. The most dangerous thing we have is now running free.
Yes. So this segment of the book, I'm going to sum up by just saying they're delivering it through a couple vehicles. At the control center, nobody has any idea what's happening, and they're trying to fix problems, but their problems are causing more problems. And that's just chaos. Meanwhile, Grant, Lex, and Tim are just bushwhacking. They are just getting, like, they're running into the T-Rex everywhere. The T-Rex is always there. The place that they go, he's there again, kind of stalking them. They have to get on a boat They're floating a river that goes through the pterodactyl enclosure, which they also didn't include in the tour because they didn't realize pterodactyls freaking dive bomb you.
Yeah, the pterodactyl
that
attack
starts
was
happening.
crazy.
Oh my gosh.
So that's when I was like, this book hates
Lex.
So there's
Lex.
there's a whole bit where they find like a raft. They go down the river. Grant has he has like a gun that's a dart gun, and there's two Dilophosaurs, and the T-Rex keeps trying to get them, but then the two Dilophosaurs are like attacking the T-Rex, and Grant's just like in there with a gun, just like, oh fuck, shit.
With trying to protect two kids. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's like it's so tense and so cool. I love this. But then they finally get to like they go through the aviary, and there's literally the way they set up the aviary is so great, because Wu is just like, oh well, yeah, like I hope they're not on the river. Why is the T-Rex always by the river? Like, because they're trying to track where they are and see if they can find the kids and Grant. And they're like, well, like if they go on the river, that'd be really bad, because there's the aviary where we made these. They're not even pterodactyls. They're a different kind of thing. And they're what is it, pterosaurs? And they're so dangerous because they dive bomb. They'll fly up as high as they can, and then they're super heavy, and they'll just hit you as hard as they can and peck you to death. And right when they explain that, Grant's like, oh, looks like we're going into some sort of aviary.
Yeah. And who gets the brunt of it? Obviously, little Lex. She gets attacked right away.
Yeah, it hits her.
Yeah.
It hits her once, and then it tries to pick her up and fly away, but she's too heavy, and Grant tackles the bird.
Yeah, he tackles the effing pterodactyl animal thing.
And it's flapping all around. He feels like he's in a tornado. Like he can't even hear or see anything. Oh, man. It's so good. And then they finally get out of there, and they round the corner, and then they're like, and then they heard some owls. Ooh, ooh. And you're like, shit.
Son of a bitch.
It's so scary. It's like terrifying.
It's not a fun thing, exciting adventure. It's a horror thing that they're experiencing. They're in this jungle of horrors the entire time. They're all getting beat up constantly. They're in pain, and none of them know what they're doing. Like it's Alan Grant, two kids just doing their best in the worst situation possible.
Yes. Finally, they do make it back to the visitor center. And meanwhile, back at Control, everybody's pinned down by velociraptors. So that's happening. A bunch of people get picked off by as soon as the velociraptors get involved, people just start dropping.
Yes.
They get killed, and they need to turn on the auxiliary, or they need to get the generators actually started. And there's one generator that they have to go reboot by hand, but the velociraptors are in the way. So Grant's able to get out there after two people have tried and failed. One of them got eaten, and the other one is the lawyer, Gennaro, who's cowering in that generator shed. And Muldoon is just running around. He has the rocket launcher back, and he's just running around shooting trank rockets at the.
Yeah.
There's a part where
and hiding in pipes.
Yeah, he's having an Edmer Fudd experience.
Yeah.
Or what is it? Elmer Fudd.
Elmer Fudd. Yeah, Elmer Fudd.
He's Arnold Schwarzenegger from Predator during this part.
He thinks
he's just in the jungle.
He's just drunk Arnold Schwarzenegger from Predator at this point.
Yeah.
Freaking the first guy who tries to restore the power, is it Arnold?
Yeah.
He dies. He gets eaten by a raptor.
Yes.
Then this other guy tries to do it, also gets attacked by a raptor. And then finally, our other main character, they send him in. He's probably going to die too, but he somehow manages to do it. It's a crazy series of events where it's these kids and Alan Grant, they finally made it to the safe place, but it's also the most dangerous place in the park now, where everyone is being torn to shreds. Wu also dies.
Yes.
Just ripped apart by raptors. Everyone is dying.
So, okay, let's talk about this for a second. So the whole bit of, when the power goes out and everything, and they're trying to figure out what to do, they end up going to the lodge that's near the control center. Or no, it's not even near the control center, is it? I got a little confused with that. But
the visitor center, it's in the park.
The lodge, the actual where they, because remember.
Oh, the lodge is where Hammond lives. It's his residence.
Yeah.
Because they all go over to
close.
the lodge at one point. So Muldoon, Ellie take Malcolm. There's another guy, Harrison, they take, and Wu. They all go over, and Hammond. They all go over to the lodge, right? And as they're in the lodge, they realize that the velociraptors can bite through steel. And so the velociraptors are eating their way through all of the protective casing on the lodge to get to them.
Which should be electrified, but is not
because
right
the power
now.
is
So
down.
they're just chewing through it.
And Malcolm is just sitting there watching them and pontificating about how, like, at one point Hammond says, we're gonna, like, you guys are always worried about us killing the world. And Malcolm, in a morphine haze, freaks out. And it's just like, you can't kill the world. We don't matter that much, you fucking loser.
He has these beautiful monologues where Hammond's just like, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. He's like, no, you're stupid. This is why we're not going to figure it out. He goes on these awesome philosophical soliloquies, and it just fits so perfectly, all while the raptors are biting in and their heads are like poking through the freaking ceiling as they're trying to eat them. It's so good. It's so good.
To fill in some gaps, the reason why Malcolm's there is that they did find him, and he had tourniquet his own leg, and he is just sitting there dying of gangrene, and they're like, we got to get him a helicopter, but we got to restore communications first. So he's just sitting there trying to get more morphine and he's like trying to be positive, but he just sort of spirals and has this delirious sort of like, man. Yeah, so then just like Kyle said, pontificating, delivering great what's actually happening. He's the realist, while everybody around him is like, no, we got it.
Yeah, they're trying to problem solve,
control.
and he's just like, you can't fix the issues that we have.
No, and I love...
Which isn't helpful, but is awesome.
It is awesome, and especially because he keeps putting Hammond in his place, because Hammond thinks he's in control, and he keeps emphasizing, you're not. And like Kylan said, he's like, we could destroy the world. It's like, you can't destroy shit. Why do you think you're so powerful? Why do you think you're so important? And it's just a really kind of eye-opening... Every time he talks, it's eye-opening to me. Like I said, if I was there, though, I think I'd be really annoyed and be like, why don't you just help instead of telling us how we're all going to die?
Well, because he can't. You know,
Exactly.
He's like stuck. But I did love all of that stuff, because in this monster movie book, you're getting what feels like these really deep philosophical things. So it makes it so satisfying as a reader, because you kind of go off in this world of, it's like, oh yeah, what do we actually control? Oh shit. And then it's like, okay, so there's these psycho monsters who are just like the most terrifying. The velociraptor is the most terrifying creature you've ever read about. And you're like, oh yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, they're killing people. Ooh, cool.
Yes.
Like, what is God?
And
Ooh,
there's a
cool.
bunch of them. What is God? Yeah, exactly. So there are a bunch of velociraptors, speaking of, at the visitor center where Tim and Lex are. And Tim, again, very quick-witted, does manage to lure one into a freezer and lock it in there. And they're just rolling with the punches, trying to avoid velociraptors. And they finally meet back up with Grant, who then they have to figure out how to kill the velociraptors. Grant lures it into the eggs hibernation area and starts injecting eggs with poison and then making the velociraptors eat them. And anyways, they're just going to work. They're being action heroes. They're being brave. They're getting each other through it. Lex is whining and complaining and crying.
Just getting
the whole
hit
time.
against stuff and bitten.
Yeah, the entire time. Every time you think they're getting ahead, they're not. Something happens and they fall behind.
Yeah, Michael Crichton punishes these people.
But it's like realistic. He's like, of course people are gonna die. Of course it's not gonna be an easy thing. Of course Lex is gonna be negative towards Tim when he's trying to save all of them, because she's having a hard time. No one's having fun at this point. But then they all kind of end up meeting up. And Grant kills these raptors in the cool way, and it's insane and brutal.
And Tim ends up in basically the computer chair, in the man in the chair, and he is trying to navigate a system. And this part is tense, because you're like, all you got to do is turn back the electrical power, like the electric fence at the lodge. But like navigating that, it's like it all comes down to this, and this confusing system is like impossible to navigate, and he doesn't know which buttons to push. So finally, down to the wire, he gets the electricity back on at the lodge, and the velociraptors that are coming through the roof get shocked. And it seems as though order has been restored.
Finally.
So they get
a rough few long hours. Finally, things have been restored.
They call a helicopter to come pick up
Malcolm.
Also, didn't mention, the kids saw velociraptors on a ship that had departed, so they have like an hour to stop this ship from getting to the mainland because it's got raptors on it. They do make the call. Gennaro like threatens them with some maritime law that he makes up on the spot, and they're like, oh, okay, well. So it seems like everything's going good, and the kids are just playing on the computer at this point, making the dinosaur sounds. They play a T-Rex sound over the speakers, and it's so fascinating because Hammond's like, Malcolm, I told you, we'd get it back under control. It's all under control now. And now, like, his own systems screw him because he hears the T-Rex sound and starts running carelessly, trips, falls into a ravine and breaks his ankle. And he had been so confident in his creation. Now he faces this poetic fate. Unable to move, he is soon surrounded by a pack of small scavenging dinosaurs, the Procompsognathus, which kind of kicked this whole thing off. They call them compies. They're drawn by the scent of his injury, and they attack and kill Hammond, but their poison is an opiate. And so he knows as soon as he gets bit, he's actually going to feel like deliriously happy and lose the will to live, and then they're just going to start eating him, and he's going to be totally fine with it. So they do eat him. They kill the shit out of him and quietly remove the park's creator from his lost paradise. Hammond dies hearing the calls of the very creatures he brought back to life, and he poetically realizes Malcolm was wrong. Everything is as it should be. And then the freaking bites
I
him.
wish he died worse. Like, it's bad that he gets eaten alive by these tiny things. I wish they weren't, opiate poison bites. I wish he felt every freaking bite, because at this point he starts blaming everyone, and he says, I don't care if they burn this place to the ground. And this is what McKylan was alluding to. He says, I only brought these stupid kids here because I needed to make money. I needed them to show how much they like dinosaurs. So he starts shitting on his grandkids. He starts saying, I have more embryos somewhere. I'll just do this all again. He hasn't learned anything at this point, and his true colors really start to show, and thank goodness he dies shortly after.
Brutally eaten to death. A little douche.
If I can get a little bit pretentious, I think Hammond's main character flaw is his apathy, his lack of feeling towards what's happening, his ability to kind of like numb it out and only pay attention to the details that matter to him. So I think it is a little bit poetic justice that he's like, they kill him with like heroin. He's like actively high, like everything's fine, while he's dying. It's sort of like, I don't know. I thought it was
he dies in the delusion a little bit.
You changed my mind. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's very poetic. I like that. Thank you.
It's very ironic. Like I like that. See, Evan, this is why we have you on the podcast. This is
why we have Evan.
Because you run
ahead of my time.
You run everything ahead of your time. This book is 30 years old.
That was good. Do you remember Burt Wonderstone?
Oh, yeah.
It's not a good movie, but Jim Carrey's like, ahead of my time. That's what I was going for.
Great movie. I don't know what you're talking about.
All right. Well, wrapping it up, they go find the raptor nest. They count the eggs, and they realize the raptors are doing this thing where they're getting in formation and moving in a specific direction. And Grant realizes they're trying to migrate, and they all like line up in this perfectly straight line and go a certain direction until they hit the coast. And then they kind of come back and they do their thing, and then they get in that line again and go to the coast. And so Grant notes the population tally. The Costa Rican military shows up, and they napalm the forest and wipe the dinosaurs out in a fiery purge. The survivors watch in somber silence as Hammond's dream is reduced to ash. Upon reaching the mainland, they're held in Costa Rica for debriefing and investigation, prohibited from sharing details about the incident.
And that's kind of where it ends, is they're in this weird limbo where they don't know if they'll ever be able to leave because of what they saw. Also, Malcolm dies. Malcolm succumbs to his injuries in this really weird, he gets like spiritual at the end. Did I read that right? This mathematician gets very spiritual at the end and has this very spiritual experience, which is really cool. I don't know. I could talk about that forever. I just thought it was really interesting. His personality doesn't change, but he's just like, everything's going to be all right. And he dies. He succumbs to his wounds.
And the movie, the people that live are like Grant, Ellie, and the kids, and Malcolm and Hammond, because they made Hammond into not a terrible piece of shit. But in the book, it's Muldoon, Muldoon and Gennaro make it. And And I was just like, I remember when I was reading it, there's that cool part where Grant is like, he starts going off on Gennaro, and he's like, you haven't taken responsibility for a single piece of anything that is going on. And over again, you keep trying to not take responsibility. This is your fault. You have to just admit that it's your fault. And I was like, oh, that's the juice. That's what the whole book is about.
Yeah, it's
the difference between Grant and the others.
Yeah, really.
Weeks later, Dr. Grant, still in Costa Rica being held, is visited by Dr. Martin Gutierrez, an American biologist living in Costa Rica, the same character who first investigated those strange lizard attacks on the beach. Gutierrez brings startling news. People in the Costa Rican jungle have reported strange things that would support a disturbing theory. The raptors are migrating. They find these perfectly straight lines going through fields, and so they know raptors are out. Gutierrez closes the book with words that apply equally well to their situation with the dinosaurs, as it does to all human beings living in a chaotic universe. None of us is going anywhere.
Nice.
Dang. What a book.
So let's talk about it. I love this book so much. It's
for
so
a
good.
Book that I've seen the movie so many times. Like it can't be that good. It's so good. Like this is one. And the movie's so good too. Like we're not trying to shit on the movie. The movie's amazing. It's iconic. It's the best. But the book is somehow better and a lot more horrifying. It was. Oh, I loved it. Beautiful, beautiful choice, McKylan. I wouldn't have thought about it, but yeah.
Yeah, it was great. This is my favorite one that we've done.
It's really good.
Yeah. Agreed. It was so much fun. And also, like, it's very fun. It's a good delivery system. It's a great story, good characters. Like, all the pieces are there. But then also in the background, it's doing this thing, which I think is really well illustrating how much control is an illusion. Like, we only think we have control. And I think sometimes, like, I derive a lot of my like inner peace or equanimity from a sense of control.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I feel out of control, when I start to feel like I'm at the edges of what I can control, I get really anxious and whatever. And I've found that like when I'm doing real well and I can see the full picture, there is some peace, I think, that comes from just being like, none of us is in control. None of us was ever in control, and sort of accepting the chaos of it, which I think is where kind of Malcolm ends up, is like he sees the beauty in the chaos of just saying like everything's gonna go as it was always gonna go. And so I don't know. I thought for that reason, I feel like that's always something I'm chasing, is that real, like the peace that comes from accepting that you don't have control. And I thought this was like an awesome illustration of that concept, that it's like, hey, chill out. You never did have control. Yeah. And so for that reason, I appreciated it for my own like mental health.
I agree.
Yeah.
And you summed it up better than I could. But yeah, that is a really good lesson to be learned in that book. And then the way you described it, it wasn't just a book about like dinosaurs or monsters. Like you guys have said, it was like a very philosophical book, but also like a very, very exciting book. It just had everything. It had everything you want in a book, in my opinion.
On a similar wave as Evan, like the stuff with Dr. Grant, I was like, oh, because I have a similar thing of like wanting control, but I'm not as like heady about it as Evan is. When like reading the stuff with Dr. Grant, I was just like, oh yeah, just having responsibility and doing your best is like the heroic act of this movie, and I was like, that is something that I think about all the time. Is like, you just need to actually do. You're like, try as your hardest and do your best and keep, like, you have to keep these kids alive. You just have to do these things instead of like pontificating and being like, oh, but what if it's like this? Or like having all these pictures in your head. Like, it's a perfect yin and yang with Grant and Malcolm that I think is, I don't know, super, super important to like life, so and just being happy and finding a way through things.
Yeah. And I love that Alan Grant wasn't like positive the whole time. Like there are times on the raft where Lex is like, do this, and he's like, I'm tired. Like he wasn't always that. He's like, shut up. Like we're struggling here. We're struggling, and it's okay to struggle here. We're just gonna keep doing the simple things and make it through. I've learned a weird amount in this book. Not expecting that.
In a very opposite way of Confederacy of Dunces too, where like the existential crisis was for the positive, and I didn't. And it like I was like, oh, there's things to do. It was interesting to read these back to back.
I think it's safe to say we're all recommending read it yourself.
Yeah. Pick up the book, read it, please.
Do read this book.
To read this book. It's
honestly,
so good.
Even if you've seen the movie, if you've listened to the podcast, like reading it is its own experience.
100%.
It's great.
There's 20 hours of content at least based off of just this one book, and it does not do it service. You have to read the book.
All right, book in one word. What do we think?
Astonishing.
I'm going to say thrilling.
Magnificent.
Beautiful.
Wow. That's another word. You only get one. Kyle.
Oh. Do grunts count? Can I say grunts?
I think all of those needs to be the...
You're just adding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Astonishing.
That's definitely the word here.
My son loves it when I make monkey sounds.
What's
I love
happening?
it.
I love that.
Well, another book in the books. Thank you, Michael Crichton. You beautiful gift to humanity.
Yeah.
6'7", just freak of amazingness.
6'9". I read he's
6'9"? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and he died. He died
Wow.
early, which is kind of sad.
He's dead? I didn't know he was dead.
He died at 66.
Oh, damn.
Also, he was in Harvard Medical School and he dropped out to write books.
Great books.
That's
I-
why
Hell
it's
yeah,
so
dude.
good. Like,
That's why the science is
Yeah.
on point. There you
I
go.
was like, oh no, this is
Amazing.
gonna spin me down. Like every book I recommend is just gonna be another Michael Crichton novel.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna have I need to read everything
Yeah.
he's ever written.
Yeah,
I think
no
so. Do give us a follow on Instagram for what is now being rebranded as the Michael Crichton Podcast, and at BiblioPhools, BiblioPhools. If you have a book request, email it to us at bibliofools@gmail.com. Follow the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, whatever your mode of podcast consumption. What's the parting advice, Mac? What do you got for us?
My advice is just, I think the book sums it up perfectly. Just life will find a way. So just do your thing.
here's the thing.
Shit will
Finds a
buff
way.
out, buddy. Shit
Exactly.
will buff out. Don't yuck anybody's yum. Had to get one in there. Bah.
Yep. Yes, the official slogan, BiblioFools. Also, need to shout out Seth Dunshee for the new intro.
yeah.
Are we putting that
which
on
is
this
great.
episode?
By the time people hear this one, it'll have been on a couple episodes already because I think we're ready to go.
Yes,
So thank you,
for-
Seth, Kyle's older brother.
Older brother Seth, for offering to do the intro. If you missed the old intro, we'll send you a recording so you can listen to it whenever you want.
Yep. Or just listen to one of
Before
the
you go to
other
sleep.
episodes. Just put the
listen to it on
episodes
repeat.
on. Yeah, just keep them on.
But the new one's a lot better. The new one's a lot
And
better.
a new other piece of advice: just send this to every person that you know that likes books and tell them to listen to it. They don't have to actually listen to it. Just hit play. We just want the plays. Just make
hit
us
play.
feel good.
Get it out there.
Please, we need it.
We are desperate
Our
for
self-esteems
attention.
are low.
If you can't tell.
Yeah, I just need love and support. I get a lot of it, but I need it from strangers as well.
We need more. Please.
How am I supposed to validate my existence without listeners and clout?
I don't want clout. I don't want any sort of, nobody take me seriously. Just acknowledge me, okay?
And goodbye. Love you.